But we have breaking news from the NFL, where the Rams and quarterback Matthew Stafford have agreed to a restructured deal to keep him in Los Angeles. The new deal comes a week after the team granted Stafford permission to seek a trade. The Giants and Raiders were widely reported as potential suitors before Stafford re-upped with the Rams. Stafford, as we know, has played the past 4 years for the Rams, winning a Super Bowl championship and leading the team to the divisional round of the playoffs this past season. For much more on this, let's go ahead and welcome in our own lead NFL insider. It's our own Jonathan Jones, who is live at the scouting combine for us. Jonathan, catch us up to speed with how this came to be.
Well, right before the Rams announced their own news, it was very interesting, funny. We were on set here. We're breaking down the set right now. We were on set here, and I was saying it is overwhelmingly likely that Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams are going to wind up reaching a restructured deal, a contract extension of some sort. We're still waiting on the details of that. It actually may be a little bit. I remember, of course, last summer when he wanted a rework deal of some sort, a little bit more money. Those details did not come out for quite some time, even after the deal had been signed. So we do not have yet the details of this deal. But look, here's how it went down. He wanted some guaranteed money. He wanted some public and private assurances. He wanted Matthew Stafford to be wanted. And the Rams said, okay, go out there, gauge your market, see what could potentially be out there. And so the teams that inquired with the LA Rams included, but may not have been limited to, the Las Vegas Raiders, the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers realized pretty early, I believe, that they weren't going to be in the market for him ultimately. And so then we looked at the Raiders and the Giants, and they had some contract parameters that were out there. Not entirely sure about the trade compensation necessarily. And then he was always going to go back to the Rams because he's under contract and control of the LA Rams. They met with him today, and they were able to hammer out a deal that clearly makes him feel wanted, clearly makes him happy about his lot in life. 37 years old, Super Bowl winning quarterback with the LA Rams. And so the deal gets done. He's going to be there in 2025. I would imagine a whole lot of guaranteed money with that. We'll see about 2026 and beyond. It's sort of been a year-to-year proposition. We'll see when those details do come out, if Matthew Stafford has anything beyond this 2025.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We know you will keep us posted with all the latest details in the terms of Matthew Stafford's restructured deal as he is now staying in LA. Well, you know, JJ, you mentioned Stafford's name, of course, linked to the New York Giants. You also mentioned the Raiders. Now that he is staying out in LA, let's talk about the Giants specifically here. What's next for New York?
Okay, look, they knew yesterday and today that they weren't the top dog in this race. So they have had some contingencies that they've had to work out. We know, of course, the Giants are picking third in the draft. And so could they potentially wait until April to get a quarterback? That's possible. It certainly is possible. Could they move up with the Tennessee Titans to 1 or manipulate the draft in some way? But let's talk about free agent options. A name that you're going to hear, or maybe you've already heard if you've checked your phone lately, is Aaron Rodgers, former Packers, former Jets quarterback who was informed of his eventual release from the New York Jets back around Super Bowl week. While he is still going to be under contract with the Jets, he's going to be released. There's not going to be a trade involved here. He's going to wind up being a post-June 1 cut. Aaron Rodgers has had some calls. I'm not saying him specifically, but there have been calls on his behalf made to teams who could have potential interest to gauge that potential interest. The New York Giants are a team that received multiple calls. And so, might he potentially go to the Giants? I suppose that is a possibility, but I don't think that we are anywhere close to that being a fait accompli. So we will see. We know that, of course, the free agent quarterback market is not super strong, right? You got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. You got Sam Darnold, who I don't think is going to be an option for the Giants. You have Daniel Jones, who I know is not going to be an option for the Giants. And so we will ultimately see how this works out for the Giants. But Aaron Rodgers is a name that you will hear And there has certainly been interest from Aaron Rodgers' side.
All right, so potentially Aaron Rodgers, the lead name linked to the Giants. Now we will wait and see. Lastly here, JJ, before we let you go, how about the Raiders? Where do they turn at quarterback now? Any name that's a front runner?
Well, look, we're here at the scouting combine. A lot of draft prospects are out here. Shedeur Sanders and the Raiders have certainly been a pairing that we have heard plenty about for many, many months. And so that can certainly be a possibility. Again, I mentioned some of those quarterback names. Look, Russell Wilson has great familiarity with the head coach of the Raiders in Pete Carroll. And so those are just a couple names that you could consider. But again, all these teams going back to the drawing board. The Raiders were hopeful that they would have wooed Matthew Stafford. I think that they probably made a decent argument, led by Tom Brady, John Spytek, the new general manager, and Pete Carroll, the head coach. But Matthew Stafford didn't want to leave L.A., and L.A. was always the top option for Stafford if the Rams came correct, which they did. So the Raiders back to the drawing board. But again, they have a draftable quarterback who would love to be with the Raiders. And I think he is someone who they would love to have in Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah, well, they have some top options to select from there in Indianapolis, where you are at the scouting combine. JJ, always great to see you. Incredible insight as always as we break down the latest news. The Rams and quarterback Matthew Stafford have agreed to a restructured deal to keep him in Los Angeles, allow him to reintroduce himself, as the Los Angeles Rams go ahead and put out on social media. He's back.